Okay, welcome. Today I would like to offer a little reflection about boarding school and religion and just what that means. Okay. So, I was just reflecting what to talk on today. So each week I record a video, publish it every Wednesday, and it's on different subjects. It might be from childhood trauma, meditation, boarding school syndrome. So essentially I look at posting a new film about boarding school syndrome, boarding school every couple of weeks, because that's really the subject I'm most passionate about. Just been reading, doing a bit of research into the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve runs through the body, connects the different organs together, and it's said that it sends the signals up to the amygdala. And in the work I do with people using EFT, matrix reimprinting, it's like we're sending a signal into the amygdala. So it's interesting how things start to link in together. How that links in with religion for me is, I guess, I feel that, as I speak to people, clients, people I work with, or the men's circle I do, or the research I look at, I see that a lot of people were put off religion or spirituality certainly while at boarding school. So in my own experience, we had to go to church a couple of times a week, but then we also had to go to the church practices, which was 2 or 3 times a week. So it could be anything from 3 to 5 times a week that we had to be in church, in chapel. We had our own chapel on the grounds, and it was seated at 800 plus in this chapel. So it was an imposing place. But it was like religion was forced upon us. It wasn't, you didn't have a choice. Oh, do you want to go to chapel today? It'd be like, yeah, okay. It'd be like, no, you have to go. If not, you're punished. You get detention, or you'd get into trouble. So we had to go to chapel, and so I guess it's that thing that as I do the research, I see that most people were put off religion, spirituality while at boarding school, and I think that religion is or certainly spirituality is a really important part of us as humans. And I love what Robert Bly talks about in Iron John, this idea that the difference between boys and men, or girls and women, in the ancient sense, that when we have an initiation, is to see that as boys we think it's all about us. As girls, it's like, it's me, what can I get? Whereas when we are initiated, we become men, we see that there's something else. And it's like what Robert Bly talks about, is this idea that we're introduced to a spiritual life. And I feel that is not, when we're forced to go to chapel. From what I hear, Christine Jack puts it in her book, Recovering Boarding School Trauma Narrative. She says that most of us were just put off religion, and I feel that's a real shame, because religion has so much to offer. The Christian teachings, the Buddhist, the Muslim teachings, the Hindu. I feel there's so much there, so much wealth. So so for me, what I see at boarding school is that there's so much dogma. It was like, you have to believe this, you believe in God, but we need to experience it. And that same idea, that the difference between boy and man, is I learn to have a spiritual life. Realize there's something more than me. It's not, and this kind of links in with the archetypes of the difference between the immature and the masculine form, the mature forms of the archetype. The immature form, it's all about me, it's inward, whereas the mature form is, how may I serve? I realize there's a world around me. So I feel that, at boarding school we learn, for many of us, to hate religion. because we associate it with suffering. And actually I see that, there's a lot of healing there with spirituality, with religion. So for me, spirituality for our ancestors would have been coming out into the nature, sitting by a stream and, just getting up close and just watching the animals or the plants, watching the changing seasons, watching the stars. It's like we're just watching, connecting to something greater than ourselves. Rather than just being focused as we are, we're disconnected from nature. So one of the ways, if you feel you've been to boarding school, you've had some form of trauma, you feel that disconnection from religion or spirituality, is to return to nature. To spend time. There's a beautiful practice from the book, The Coyote's Guide, The Art of Mentoring by John Young. And in it is called a sit spot, and you find a spot in nature and for 10 minutes every day you just sit. It might be I just sit here. Obviously I'm facing the my raised bed, so that wouldn't be perfect, but maybe facing towards the stream. And what happens is nature gets used to us being there. And so it's like we might see something amazing. A hawk might fly into the garden and see us. And kind of, because we've been still, it might have seen us before. It's okay with it. It'd be okay with us. It might be we're just watching nature grow. It's like we see there's something more than us within us. More in the world than just us. So I feel that, it's a shame, with boarding school that happens. I'm trying to think what else I've said about here. Yeah, those are basically the points. That for most of us, we were really turned off of religion, as I was. But then for me, I found a Buddhist monastery, and it really resonated with me because they weren't forcing anything upon me. I felt at school we were forced to believe in something. And if we didn't, then we were wrong, or there was something wrong with us. We all had to get confirmed. If you didn't get confirmed, there was something wrong with you. And I feel that it is really important for us to find our own voice. And that's why I love Buddhism, is that we're not being forced. It's an investigation within ourselves. What do I feel? What's happening within me? What's my heart say? And from there then we can find healing. Just some ideas and reflections. Hopefully it's not too windy. If you've got any questions, then please do leave them below, or reach out to me on my website, which is below. So I just think may we start to investigate that spiritual life again, to see there's something more than us, rather than just being materialistic or lost in our heads, mentalistic. We step back and go, what else is out there? So, just some reflections. So my podcast, had an interview last week with the man from Eton. I'm thinking next week. I've reached out to a few people. No one's got back to me. So I might well interview my wife about being married to a boarding school survivor, me, and just her perspective on it. So if that interests you, just comment below. And yes, I've had a haircut. So I've had a long hair for years. I just felt that it was time. So there we go. So many blessings. Take care. Bye for now.